Hey y'all, hey, it's Troyia Monay back to y'all with another video. Today's video is super exciting as always. In today's video, we are going to be talking all about chargebacks. I've been getting a lot of questions in my DMs, down below in the comment sections about chargebacks. What are they? How can I avoid chargebacks? How can I win a chargeback? All of that good stuff. So of course I came on here to answer that question for you guys and to give you guys my experience, a short story time as to how I dealt with a chargeback and how I actually lost a chargeback as well. So we're gonna definitely be chit-chatting it up about that. Go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up before we go ahead and dive right on in. Alright y'all, so let's go ahead and hop right on in. Like I said, we are going to be talking all about chargebacks. If you do not know what a chargeback is essentially when a customer goes through, they contact their bank and they file kind of like a dispute. And they're basically going through and contacting their credit card issuer, debit card issuer, basically their bank, and requesting a refund from the actual company. So a customer definitely can just go through and request a refund from you as the actual retailer or online store or what have you, but they will go through and issue it from the bank because 9 times out of 10 the bank will go through and have that chargeback sent back to them in favor of the customer. So just a little bit of a quick story time before we go ahead and hop right on in about how I dealt with the chargeback and I lost. So back in August 2020, I had a customer go through and purchase, I think like two-piece sets or something like that from me. I have all the info right here. Y'all know I come with my receipts. She went through and charged and purchased two-piece sets from me, and her total was $71 and some change, right? So I went through, of course, sent the customer her items, and like 2 weeks later, y'all, I literally have this thing where I wake up in the middle of the night at like 4 a.m. and I got a notification from Shopify saying that a customer filed a chargeback. When I tell you I hopped out of my sleep and I was so mad. I was like, I've never had this happen to me before. I had been in business for like 6-7 months at that time, and I had never experienced a chargeback. I've never gotten any complaints. So when I went through and I seen this, I was like, what is going on? Went back to sleep because I was just too mad to even look further into it. I said I would handle it in the morning. Woke up the next morning, looked into it a little bit more, and the reason why that she went through and did a chargeback was because she said that she had not received the products. Mind y'all, I deliver and I ship fast. Literally, anybody that has ever shopped with my boutique know that I literally have a processing time of anywhere between like 3 to 4 days, but I always ship out either same day or maybe the next day. So she had received her items in a good enough time frame, probably wore it and probably was like, okay, I don't want the items anymore, and filed a chargeback. So that was her complaint. So of course, when I seen that, I emailed her and I was like, hey, I'm sorry if you had, any issues with this order. Please go through and contact me so we can kind of get it resolved. Or if there is any additional, troubles that you experience with this order, let me know and we can kind of get it resolved one-on-one. You don't have to contact your bank or anything like that. Never heard from her, went ghost. So of course, when you do get a chargeback with Shopify, they are going to let you know on the back end, and you have to submit a lot of different documentation, trying to go through basically and pleading your case that the customer went through and did a false chargeback. So of course I went through, sent my tracking. I sent over, what else did I send? All of her confirmation messages and emails. I sent that. I screenshotted my return policy. I sent that to them. What else did I include? I included a bunch of stuff, y'all. Like, I was not playing. And still, it still went in favor of the customer, you guys. So I went through, sent, what else did I send? I sent her tracking. I sent a screenshot of her tracking and shipping label. I sent the conversations that I sent over to her. What else did I send? The dispute reasoning. I sent a screenshot of my return policy, the screenshot of the return policy on the product page. Went through and submit all of that information, and they still went in favor of the customer, you guys. So I say all of this to say that chargebacks are really difficult. You really want to make sure that you submit everything that you can, and also have some measures too on the back end to make sure that you are increasing your security measures, and we'll get into that as well. But usually, you guys, banks go in favor of the customer. And the reason why is because the customer already has a relationship with that bank. So the bank kind of trusts and puts the customer kind of in favor over you as a business. One of the good things to avoid chargebacks is by using PayPal. PayPal has a really good system when it comes to chargebacks, where they usually go in favor of the business, especially if you're providing all of that good documentation. They usually go in favor of the business. So PayPal is really great for chargebacks. But unfortunately, sometimes we do use the payment processor through Shopify, or we use Square and all of that good stuff, or maybe Stripe. And they can be sometimes unavoidable that way. But when chargebacks happen, they usually happen because of several different things. The first thing is fraud. Second thing is duplicate orders. Third thing is products not received, or quote unquote not received. We'll get into that. Products being unacceptable, depending, you know, on the customer. And then our poor return policies, if you have a poor return policy. So we're going to go through each one of these. So fraud. That is what my customer committed against my business, is what I like to say, fraud, because you received those items. So don't go through and send me a chargeback saying that you did not receive those items. You guys also have to realize that people will intentionally go onto your site, order a bunch of different things just with the intention of not actually physically paying for them, and with the intention of disputing those charges later on. A lot of people go through, they might go through and, you know, shop with you in your business, and then later on it's almost kind of like guilt shopping, where they're like, dang, I shouldn't have spent that money. She don't have a return policy. Let me go ahead and file this dispute. Let me go ahead and file this chargeback, so that way they can get those funds back. And it's just so hurting, and what's the word I'm looking for? It's so like, just makes me angry, you know, as a small business, that we put so much time, so much effort, and so much money into our businesses, and then we have customers that do these different things to us. So you really want to make sure that you have measures in place, security measures, and I'll give you guys a couple different apps and different tips and tricks towards the end of the call that'll help you guys with that as well. So you want to make sure, another thing is to make sure that the billing and the shipping address always matches. And Shopify has a pretty good system as to keeping track of all of this. They have a fraud analysis on each of the order confirmation pages. So as soon as someone orders from you, you'll get kind of like this page on Shopify, and it'll tell you like the fraud analysis. And that customer that ordered from me, she had a low fraud analysis. So maybe that was her first time ever committing fraud or doing a chargeback or anything like that. So there was no way for me to know there as well to avoid it. Another thing is duplicate orders. Sometimes there are glitches in the Shopify system where customers can definitely go through and their cart can be charged twice. So if you do notice that, go through and contact their customer and ask them, was that intentional, right off the bat, so that way you can avoid getting any chargebacks later on down the line as well. Next thing is when customers go through, and this is the most popular, when customers go through and say that they did not receive their products, you guys. This is the most popular type of fraud that results in chargebacks. You want to make sure that you have all of your tracking, you have all of those shipping labels, all of that good stuff. People will go through and say that they never received your order. A way that you can try to avoid this is by having that sign to deliver feature with any of the shipping carriers that you use. However, due to COVID, a lot of these carriers such as USPS, UPS, they aren't offering that sign to deliver feature because they don't want to have contact with them, with a delivered man or mailman, and then the customer, you know, at their door. So they're really leaving those packages at the doorstep. So the other day, I ordered some stuff from Louis Vuitton and from Burberry, and it said that I wasn't home at the time either. So it said that I had to go through and sign according to my tracking, but they ended up still leaving them because of the no contact policies that a lot of companies have right now due to COVID. So you can't avoid it that way, but you can definitely try, contact your local carriers to see if there's anything that you guys can do about that. But that is so hurting, you know, as a small business, having someone say that they never received something when you actually have proof that that item was actually delivered. So that is definitely a really popular one that a lot of people say that they haven't gotten that result rather into chargebacks. Next thing is customers saying that they didn't like their product or products being unacceptable. So in order to avoid this, you really want to make sure that you are creating quality content. That's another reason why content is so important, is to avoid chargebacks. So you want to make sure that you have a ton of pictures of all elements of your clothing. You want to make sure that your product descriptions are good to go. If something is not true to size, do not say that it is. Go through and make sure that you outline that that item runs big, it runs small, anything like that. If, let's say, you're going through and you're taking a picture of something, but the way that the actual picture is captured doesn't really showcase that the color in a good sense. So if there's something is like a mustard green and you take a picture of it and it turns out to look like kind of maybe like a regular green, or a mustard yellow is what I'm trying to say, y'all. Getting tongue-tied. So if you take a picture of something and it looks mustard yellow in the photo, but it's actually kind of like a lighter yellow, you want to go through and put that in the product description so that way your customers know what that item is supposed to look like. Make sure that you guys are packaging your items properly too. Never, ever, ever just throw your item physically in a poly mailer. Always make sure that it is protected in some type of clear packaging before you put it in the poly mailer, just in case for any damage, and to kind of just protect it while it is being shipped to your customer as well. Another thing is replace anything that is defective or anything that is damaged. So my return policy for my boutique is no returns, no exchanges, no exceptions. However, if you do experience any issues with this order, be sure to contact me and I'll be sure to accommodate you if needed or if I can. So if something is defective or something is damaged, I'm always going to ask my customers to send it back to me. I'm either going to give you a refund or I am going to go through and send you another garment if I have any available. So that's what I usually try to do there. But sometimes people, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to go through the worry of sending things back to you, and they'll just do a chargeback. Next thing is to make sure that your return policies are clean, clear, concise. Your return policy needs to be clear, and make sure that it's easy for your customers to find it on your website. So usually always put it down below in the footer notes on your website down towards the bottom, so that way people know what your return or exchange policy is as well. So a couple last minute tips and tricks to help you avoid chargebacks is to, like I said, use the Shopify analysis feature, fraud analysis. If that customer has like suspicious, if it is a suspicious order, Shopify will flag it and there'll be like a red mark next to it for you to kind of go through and review it. So you have the option of going through and declining that that purchase altogether, or you can contact the customer and verify any information to make sure that you're good to go there before moving forward with shipping that order. You guys can also download an app on Shopify called Fraud Filter. That's the app that I started using. And it's really going to help screen each of your visitors that come to your site as well, to make sure that they aren't any suspicious orders or anything like that as well. And then last thing, not least, you really just want to make sure that everything on your site is good to go. It's outlined, it's clean, it's clear, it's concise. Really be very transparent with your customers. Really show your brand personality as well. The more professional you are within your customers, the more that they will likely, hopefully, not result in a chargeback, you guys. So hopefully this video was helpful. If you guys still have any questions, concerns, or anything like that, be sure to leave it down below in the comment section. And hopefully this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.